All right, guys, I'm gonna wait a little bit before I start. Let's wait a few more people to join, and then I can start. Then we can start. Let me get a minute or two, and then almost there. A few people to join, and we'll be good to go. Good evening, everybody. Even though I guess right now for me it's around 3 o'clock. I think for some of you guys it's a little later, around 7 or 6. But good evening, everybody. All right, let's start right now. So, welcome everybody. This is going to be one of our first live sessions in first class. To kind of give you guys some context, this class is going to be about, I guess, kind of how to build AI agents. And recently, I did release a video. It was called "How to Build an AI Sales Agent Using the OpenAI Assistant API." If you guys haven't seen that yet, I would recommend you guys to watch that. And so let me show you guys a video real quick. So yeah, I would recommend you guys to watch this video. Let's put a link and read some of the articles that I put in this video. This will kind of give you a full context of what we're going to go over. I think today, this class, it won't be a full deep dive. It'll just be kind of a quick overview of what I've already discussed before. So let me put this link in here. Let me put the link in here, and you see the newsletters. I would really recommend you guys to read this because it gives you how to build these things in a more readable and digestible format. If the video was kind of long or it was harder to understand just watching the video from this one with like just watching the video, I think reading it from article will give you a good insight on how to build these things. So let me send a link. I know. So you asked the question, which tools are we using? I know we're using GPT-4. Yeah, we're using GPT-4. And I mean, specifically the tool we're using is Open Assistant API. And to give you an overview of what that is, it's pretty much, if you think about it, it's just a tool that allows us to use ChatGPT's functionalities outside the ChatGPT UI or user interface. And when I say the UI or the user interface, I mean what you interact with when you open up an application. So if I show you real quick, if you can see my screen, and let me you guys know if my screen is not clear enough or you guys can't see my screen. But this is pretty much the ChatGPT UI. And again, Open Assistant API is pretty much letting us do all these functionalities that we can do GPT or using a custom GPT, but outside the actual ChatGPT user interface. So the plan for me was to kind of go over. Okay, so let's go over the code quick. And for you guys that don't know, this is VS Code. And just explain what VS Code is. Think of when I'm trying to build a PowerPoint, I use a software, don't I? I use a software like Microsoft PowerPoint. If I'm trying to write something on my computer, like an essay, I use a software like Microsoft Word. VS Code is pretty much just this is software for developers to write code pretty much. So kind of like how for writers, they have Microsoft Word. For developers, they have VS Code. So I'm gonna go over this code real quick. And the first two parts, these parts aren't as, you don't need to understand these parts as much. I just want to go over basics of how the code works, and I'll tell you which parts are kind of really important that will kind of help you kind of change my code for your own use case. So these first 4 lines, all they're doing is importing certain libraries. And when I say libraries, think of, let's say an office building. When you're in the office, you want to print something, use a printer. When you want to go up to the next floor, use an elevator. When you want to go to a meeting, use your computer. Libraries just allow codes to do different things pretty much. So if you see the import OpenAI, that's a library that allows us to leverage the Open Assistant API. And just for you guys that don't really understand what APIs are, to kind of give you an analogy or the most, I guess, beginner-friendly explanation, think of a boss and an employee. The boss sends a request to the employee, like, go give me the documents we discussed in their last meeting. Based off that request, the employee might come back and give that boss the documents. That's kind of what an API is doing. So if me, aka the boss, let me say if I ask the API, create me and send me a cat image, I'll send that to the API. And the API will usually be like a URL or endpoint. So it'll be something like, if I show you, let me show you an example. It'll be something like this URL. And then when that API gets that request, it will talk to a piece of code that will actually create the cat image and send it back to us. So kind of like if I'm a boss and I tell my employee that I want my documents from the employee will go use a printer to actually print the documents so he can come back to the boss and give him the documents. It's the same thing with the API. And the API is going to the code, so the code can actually do what we asked for, like create the cat image. Then it can take the image that the code created and give it back to us. That's kind of how API works. And let me slow down a little bit and look at the chat messages to see if there are any questions. Yeah, I think they're too fast. Slow down. Yeah, I'll slow down a little bit. So let me slow down a little bit. So the next part of the code is our API key. All this code is doing, line 9, is taking our API key from our .env file. So I don't put my API key in here. Because if you think about an API key, is kind of like a password. It's a password you use to make API calls. So we don't want a password to be in our code for everybody to see. So we put it in a file so only I can actually see it and see it. So to show you kind of how to get the API key and create API, I'm going to do here. Just we go to our API page. We go log in. We click our API. And we can go to this left-hand side, API keys. And then we can create a new secret. We can name it testing. Credit. And then we can copy it. Then we can go to the code. And you can just put it, oops. You put apostrophes. And then now your API agent has the API key. So that's if you want to simply add the API key, that's how you do it. And usually you would go actually to the .environment file and add it there. But I don't want to expose my API key right now, so I won't exactly show that. But if you go to my video, I have all the GitHub templates for the code I'm showing you guys in my description of my YouTube video. So if you click on this, I kind of have a guide on how to actually download this and set this up in your computer. You can also just go download the zip and unzip it, or if it's too hard to do all that, you can literally just go here, go to the file, and click download, and you have the code. So if you see in the documentation, I kind of tell you how you guys can actually put the API key in your .environment file. So I would go to my video, go to the GitHub links I have, and try to download these in your computer and play around with these. And for you guys that don't have VNS Code, because I know all you guys don't have VNS Code, in my Telegram group, and the Telegram group I have is just for you guys if you guys have any questions, you can go in that Telegram group and ask me specific questions. So I have that in my YouTube video too. You see Telegram group right here. So my Telegram group, and my computer is a little slow, so wait a little bit. I have a bunch of guides on how to set up VNS Code in your computer. So if you guys need to set that up in your computer, you can go to my Telegram group and look at the guides. And if you guys want me to write an article or step-by-step guide on how to do this in your computer, or you want me to have a live stream where I just do everything from scratch and show you how you guys do this step by step, I can also do that. And for you guys that use your phone, I'll also show you this software called Replit a little later, and that has a mobile app, so you guys can use that and actually write code on that. And see a question right here, a last question. Yeah, I'm not sure if Bing AI has a freely available API, but yes, you can use other APIs. I like Open Assistant API better at least for beginners, because it does a lot of the stuff. It does a lot of the stuff that you would usually do with other API. You usually have to manage with other APIs. It's kind of hard to explain it from a beginner standpoint, but short, Assistant API is probably the best API to use for beginners, in my opinion. And now let's see the chat. Let me look at the chat. Slow down, look at the chat a little bit. Questions, please. You're too fast. Please. So these are old chats. So, okay. So let's go back to the code. And then we have line 13, client equals OpenAI.client. I'm not going to go too specific into this. Again, this is going to be more of an overview. If you want more of a deep dive of code, go back and watch my video, and also read the articles I put in the description of the video. That will kind of give you more of a deep dive. To kind of make changes to this code and run these things, you don't need to understand all the specifics of the code. I'll tell you which aspects are the most important to understand to actually make changes to the code and create your own AI agent. But all this is doing is allowing us to use the OpenAI library. And again, the libraries, it's just like a code to do different functionalities. the OpenAI library allows us to actually leverage the OpenAI Assistant API. And that's what allows us to make calls to OpenAI API and do all the different functionalities that ChatGPT can do. So that's kind of the nation of that. And if we go down, we have our create assistant function. And to kind of explain functions to you, they're just the way to split up your code to different functionalities. So this specific function right here is called create assistant. And all it's doing for us is actually creating our AI agent and allowing us to run our AI agent. So you look at this first part of code, all that is doing is checking if assistant ID file exists. And why is it checking that? If you look in our assistant ID file, we have an assistant. We have some text in it, and that's our assistant ID. Each assistant has a unique assistant ID. So if I go to click, take a while. Click. You can see that. Let me zoom in too, so this is easier for you guys to see. Zoom one out. You can see each assistant has assistant ID. So you can see that. So all this code is doing is checking if we have an assistant file already created and seeing if we want to use a pre-existing assistant that we've already created. But if we don't want to use a pre-existing assistant and we want to create a new assistant, then what we do is usually we just delete this file, and then the code will go to this part instead. It'll skip through this part and go over here. And this is the main part the main aspect we want to understand, so we can make changes to our assistant and create different assistants or create different AI agents. So before I go over this part, let me look at the messages of news. So let me continue. So you see a lot of client.beta, client.files. All that is just allowing us to leverage code that will use the API to actually make API calls to OpenAI. So let me show you. I think it'll be easier if I show you the documentation OpenAI has. Yeah, you guys, okay, it seems like you guys can hear me. Okay, that's good. So let me go to the documentation. So let's go to assistants. Let's go to files first. So right here, you can see the client.files.create. And you see, if you go back to my code, you see the client.files.create. So all that code is doing is making an API call. What that API call is doing is asking our assistant to upload our file, the file to the endpoint so it can access it. So what this is used for is when we want to give our assistant a knowledge base. For example, you might have an Excel file. That Excel file might have a bunch of pricing data, and you want your assistant to be able to answer questions based on that data. Well, we'll use the client.files create to upload that Excel file to our assistant so it can access that file and answer questions based on what's in that file. And then we also have go to assistants. We also have the create assistant command. So this is what we're going to use to create our assistants. You can see client.beta assistant.create. You can see the API endpoint right here. And you go back to our code. We have the client.beta assistant.create. So this is the main aspect you want to look at when you want to be creating our assistant. So it has a few parameters. As the tool parameters, I think I discussed this in my video before. The OpenAI assistant has a few tools. It has the retrieval tool, the function calling tool, and the code interpreter tool. So tools are pretty much, it allows you to use different functionalities of OpenAI assistant. So the retrieval tool specifically, it allows the assistant to answer questions based on the knowledge base you give it. So kind of discussed that before with the client.files.create. We can give our assistant a knowledge base. You can see here I'm giving it the sales.pda file. So we're using this. It's not in the text, the actual text, since it's in here. But if I actually look for the actual text, let me slow down a little bit too, so you guys can kind of understand it. I know I'm talking a little bit too fast sometimes, so I'll slow down a little bit too. But let's go to documents. Let's go to system demo. Let's go to PDF file. So you can see that we gave it a knowledge base. This file being has a bunch of sales conversations inside of it. So our AI agent can answer questions based on all our sales calls a certain company has had. So going back to the code, this is what allows us to create assistant. So if you guys want to use the retrieval functionality, all you guys have to do is take my code, put whatever file you want to feed the assistant inside your folder, and then put the name of the file in here. And then it's gonna know that it's gonna have to retrieve information from that knowledge base. And then what you also want to do is go to your assistant instructions. That's going to be your prompt. This is how we're going to tell the assistant how to complete a certain task or how to answer a question. Kind of like if your boss talks to your employee and he wants your employee to do a certain task, like maybe build me this application. You might give him specific instructions on how to build it. We're doing the same to the AI agent. We want to give the AI agent specific instructions on how to do things or how to answer certain questions. So if you look at my code, you can see in my instructions, I say, your internal sales assistant employed by our chatbot company, tasked with analyzing and extracting valuable insights from our sales calls. Your primary role is to assist and enhance sales call analysis based on past interactions. You're also responsible for various call-related tasks, including sentiment analysis. So we're just giving it specific instructions so it knows how it should answer any questions we give to it. And let me look at the chats. So do not stay focused and listen, please, everyone. So anything, see, yes, but not understand anything. Yeah, I think this is. I know it's a little more complex, but again, if you guys watch the video, you guys read over the article, and then you guys can rewatch this live session also because it's going to be recorded and it's going to be live. You can always come back and rewatch it. I think you guys will kind of understand it more in depth what I'm talking about. And I'll also mention this before. I'll also be doing some no code videos on this. So not all the videos will be kind of code heavy. I'll also do some no code videos on how to actually build these assistants. So for guys that are not more before more or less technical explanations or for less code heavy stuff, I'll be doing some no code versions of this. So you guys can actually learn how to build these things without actually having to code all this or understand all this code. And let's see what other stuff in here. Okay, let's go back to the chat. So the rest of the code, I went over this in my video, so I won't do deep explanations of this. But what it's pretty much doing is creating a thread. If you guys don't know what a thread is just a conversation session. So every time it creates a new thread, it creates a new conversation session. But if we use the old thread, then the assistant AI agent is going to have memory of all the previous messages we sent before. So all a thread is just a conversation session. And then next step, we're just giving a user message. So that's the question I'm going to be asking the AI agent. And what I'm asking is, what are the most common objections we face in our sales calls? And then after that, it's just going to print the message. So I could run this code really quick so show you what it does, even though I showed this in my video, but I'll run it again too so you guys can kind of see how it works. Python sales.py. So question, in case where we call our customers and we want that, so in case where the call our customers want to make is not part of the ones in the still.py file, what do we do, or what will happen? So I mean, you need to have your information stored somewhere for the AI agent to be able to access it. So if your calls are not in the PDF file or you don't have it stored anywhere, then it's going to be hard for that AI agent to include it in the context of the question we're asking it. So we need to have that information stored somewhere. And then I ran that code. And you can see though, remember the question we asked this assistant is, or go down. We face in our sales calls. And you see it's answered. The assistant, from the transcripts of the sales calls, several common objections and concerns from potential clients can be identified. Budget constraints. So some clients are worried about the budget, return on investment. So some are worried that the investment, the cost of what we have to pay them they won't get a return on investment for what they have to pay for. Data privacy and security. A common concern with chatbots is where's the data going? Who's controlling that data? Who's getting that data? And so on. So that's kind of the explanation of the code itself. Again, if you guys can actually go and play around with this code, I put all the templates in GitHub. So again, if you go to my video, and I'm gonna answer some of these questions too that I just saw. Yeah, I'm gonna answer some of these questions. But again, if you go to my video, in my video description, I have GitHub links. And you guys can just take this. You guys can take this code, download your computer, play around with this. So I really recommend you guys to play around with this, because when you actually start playing around with this, it's not as complex or complicated as you guys think. You just have to sit down and play around with this. And I wrote our code for you. So making these changes to the code won't be as difficult as you think would be. Now let me answer some of these questions. So yeah, like I mentioned before, I think my next video is gonna be how to build these things with no code. So I'm already building a video on that. So it's gonna be less code. So guys are not really developers. It's gonna show you how to build these things without having to write extensive code for it. Can somebody explain to me what AI sales agent is all about? So the AI sales agent that I'm going over and I built my video, if you guys watch the video, again, I recommend you guys to watch the video. Its main use case is, for example, the sales.pdf, the PDF file I'm feeding it has all our sales calls in that file. So let's say a company or a client or somebody wants somebody to analyze all the sales calls to see why aren't clients buying our stuff? Why do they keep rejecting our stuff? What are we doing wrong? We can use an AI agent to analyze all the information inside that PDF file and ask and answer questions, answer all those different type of questions. And then let's see. But again, if you want to see what functionalities the AI sales agent can have and do, I'll rewatch my video because it shows all the different functionalities that I gave my AI sales agent. You can kind of see what it can do. And I even put a description what it can do. We empower Emma to analyze sales data, to find new leads online, interact with CRM data. This interact with any data you put in your database or you store, and provide deal closing recommendations. So again, I would watch the video to see what different functionalities that a sales assistant can have and how it can be useful for a company or client. And then let's see other questions. Yeah, this is again, I'll do a no-code video. Also, there are gonna be tutorials I'm gonna be creating videos of. So just for you guys to understand, this video that I create, that's just the first part of a bunch of different videos I'm gonna make. So I'm gonna do a whole series on AI agents, and I'm gonna do no-code versions. I'm gonna do tutorials on how to use the tools that I talk about in my videos and talk about in my classes and my live streams. So this is just the first part of a series. There can be plenty of other videos on it. So to give you guys more of a better understanding. Question: how can I put my sales agent information? So usually, if it's actual company, they'll probably have all their sales information stored somewhere. But if you're just doing it for testing, what I did is just go to ChatGPT. So let's go to ChatGPT. Boo doo doo. And asking that asks it, can you create me a sale? Let me zoom in so you guys can see this more. Can you create me a sales doc? No, you give me a sales call between a client and a lead salesman and a lead. Trying to sell a house. And that's how I kind of created my knowledge base for my AI agent. So if you guys are doing testing, you can just go to ChatGPT and ask it to create some type of knowledge base for you. Yeah, so code with program knowledge, it's possible to create a flash site with code. Yeah, I'm gonna go over that really quick. I use Replit to do that. So let me go over that real quick. So again, I went over the code, but some of you guys want to actually take your AI agent and integrate it to other platforms like WhatsApp or Telegram or Teams. So what I use a tool for that called Replit. Replit kind of works similar to VS Code. It's kind of like VS Code. It's actually better for beginners. So for you guys that don't like VS Code, I would go use Replit. And for you guys that actually have phones and don't have computers, Replit has a mobile app. So I would go check that out too. And again, in my Telegram group, which I put in my video description, where you guys can ask me questions, any questions you have after after this live stream, you can go to my Telegram and ask me. You can also ask it in the WhatsApp group also. But in my Telegram group, if I show you, I have all this here. So I have a Replit beginner guide. So if you guys who don't know how to use Replit and want a Replit beginner guide, I have that in here. And also let me add this to the chat so you guys can access it too. So let me see if I can copy and paste this. It's so hard to copy and paste. Copy and paste. Let me answer this question too. Is it too long? Yeah, you guys have to go to the Telegram group and get those things because it's too long. Let me answer quick. Please, can you list the apps or files you can use to create from first to last? So I guess all the apps. So let me list those. I'll list those later, but I'll tell you the apps. So the two main apps you can use to create AI agents that I'm gonna go over right now, or is Replit and VoiceFlow. Those are the two main, I guess, apps you can use to create sales agents. So I'm gonna go over Replit real quick. Take a while. So this is Replit. Again, it works similar to VS Code. So Replit, we have our sales calls.py file. And all it's doing is doing what we already explained. It's creating our system for us. The main difference here that we use for is the host API endpoints. Kind of like how the OpenAI Assistant API has endpoints, we're creating endpoints for our AI agent. So all this code is doing is it'll take the assistant we created, it'll load it, and it'll load into their assistant ID. That'll tell us what assistant what assistant we're gonna use. And then we have two endpoints. We have the start endpoint. When we send a request to that endpoint, all it's doing is creating a thread. So all it's doing is creating a new conversation for our AI agent. And then after that, it will send a request to the chat endpoint. All the chat endpoint is doing is that it's getting the messages sent to us and giving it to the AI agent and send a response back. So that's all. So it's all it's doing, just creating two endpoints. So again, all the start endpoint is doing is creating a new conversation. And all the chat endpoint is doing is taking the message that we sent to the AI agent, giving it to the AI agent, and then sending the AI agent's response back to us. And what we usually do is that when we want to run this code, we'll run it. The code will start. We go to web view. And then we click here. And I showed this in my video too. So again, if you want to know how to set this up, I showed this in my video. Copy the link. Now let's go to VoiceFlow. So you can see build AI agents that you use any. So let's go to VoiceFlow. Let me see if there's anything. Yeah. Just click on Sales Chatbot 1, Designer. And for you guys don't know, VoiceFlow is pretty much a no-code platform to kind of help us build our AI agents. So it allows us to create a UI for our AI agent without having to do extra code and all that. So this is what we kind of use to integrate our AI agent to other platforms like Telegram or Microsoft Teams or so on. So you see how I have my endpoint right here. And all I did is you can copy the paste the URL that copied before, paste it there, and then you add /start. So now when I want to run this, thing, it will send a request to start endpoint, and it'll send these things that I'm asking to send. And then what it'll do is capture our user reply. So let me run this again. So taking the message, it'll capture the message in us. What are the common injections? Or what is my company? What is my company selling? Let's just say, let's do something simple. What is my company selling? And wait, it'll take a bit. So let me look at the chat. But what we'll do when it when the assistant finally sends a response back, it'll let me start. So what it'll do is that it'll go to this one here, and we'll send a request to our chat endpoint, and then the assistant will send a response back, and it'll just take a response and show it in our UI. So I have to rerun it again, but what is my company selling? And let's see what questions there are. Yes, live video will be saved on YouTube, so you guys can kind of rewatch this too. So don't worry about that. It'll be saved. Let's go back to. So, and I'm gonna talk while we're waiting for this. So again, I went over this. I kind of went over this in my video. So if people are a little confused, I would watch the video again, my video again, and I kind of go over voice flow and stuff. Also, I'll create a video on a voice flow tutorial so you guys can see how to kind of use this software. And also, if you guys are interested, I can do a live stream where I'm doing everything from scratch. So I'm creating everything from scratch so you guys can see the step by step and how to create these things. And going back, you can see it sent back a response. Our company is selling a sophisticated chatbot system. That the chatbot acts like an intelligent assistant, so it's telling me what our company is selling based on our sales call and our PDF file. So not too much to explain outside of that. If you guys, again, I have this template inside my video. So if you guys go to my videos, I have this voice flow template here in my GitHub. So all you guys have to do, I even put a documentation how to use this template to create a chatbot in voice flow. But all you guys have to do is go here, download that file, go to voice flow. Let me go to the home page, go to the back dashboard, create a new assistant. I can't create it now, but what you do is you create a new assistant, you put it, and then you put the file that you just uploaded in here, and it'll create the assistant with the same template that I use. So you guys don't have to go and hand create the assistant. You can just take the template I've already created for you guys, and everything will be ready for you. And the only change this is not it, blah, blah, blah. The only thing you guys would need to change is these URLs. And again, you create these URLs when you run Replit. So you go back. When you run Replit, right here, you go here, and you get the URL. So I kind of already explained this in my video. And one last thing I want to mention is that, again, I have all this code, all this Replit code inside in my YouTube video. So go back. Let me find my YouTube video. Click on replit.com. All you have to do is click fork and run. So log in and click fork and run, and you can take my code and you can play around with my code too in Replit. So again, all this is accessible in my descriptions. And I mean that's pretty much kind of it for this live class. I think our at least one of our classes, we might do a Twitter space or something where you guys can actually directly ask questions. So any of you guys actually have questions, you guys can kind of ask that. You can also go to my Telegram group and ask me questions. Again, my Telegram group is inside my chat. And also let me drop the Replit link here. And remember, my Telegram group is inside my YouTube description. So you guys have any questions, go to my Telegram group. The Replit link is inside my YouTube description. So if you guys want to get this, go to my YouTube video. Also, since somebody asked to put it here, I'll drop the Replit code here. And missed out some part, don't worry, this is recorded, so you guys can always rewatch it. And again, that AI agent video I released, that was just the first part of a series. More videos are coming in. I'm gonna do a no code video. So for you guys that don't want to write code to build these AI agents, there's gonna be a way to build these things with no code. I'm gonna do a tutorial for you guys that don't understand Replit or VoiceFlow. I'm gonna do tutorial videos on those. And again, I know if you guys watched my video, you know I showed you how to. I showed you that I actually integrated my AI agent into Teams. So let me open that up. Give me a second. Let me open that up. So I showed that in my video before. I also did a video on how to actually do this, how to integrate your AI agent into stuff like Microsoft Teams, how to integrate it into Telegram, how to integrate it in WhatsApp. If you actually look at my Telegram for my next video, I was actually playing around with it in Telegram. Let me show you real quick. So I was actually playing with my AI. So a video is coming up for that also. So that's pretty much it for me. For me, again, yeah, this is Python programming. So again, if you guys have any questions, I would go into my Telegram group, ask questions. You can also ask questions in the WhatsApp group. And the next couple classes, I think at least one of the classes will have just you guys asking questions, so you guys can get some clarifications on stuff you missed or didn't understand. And again, I would watch my video, read some of the articles I have in my video. Read these because these articles are very easy and simple to understand. And I know sometimes harder to understand me because I'm talking fast and I'm kind of getting used to kind of talking to people, a bunch of people. So again, I would go to my articles and read those to get better explanations or easier to understand explanations on how to build these things and how these things work. And I'll also rewatch the live stream, the YouTube videos to get better understanding, and I'll play with the stuff like my code and my Replit stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. That's the end of our first class. Bye.